Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Shock Talk. We decided to do a special episode today dedicated to new Bronco products.
Toyota 4Runner.
No, new Bronco products. We've overdone the 4Runner. We're going to go with the Bronco today.
I'm sure 4Runner will be right.
How long are we going to talk about Bronco before it turns into 4Runner?
No, it already turned into 4Runner. We just started.
3 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah, we made it like half
Well,
a
Bronco
second.
people don't seem to be buying parts, man. Bronco people, where are you guys at, Bronco people?
Well,
what are you guys looking for? Because we got everything.
Exactly. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the top. And we have some killer new products for the Bronco. And it's not sitting close to Shane, but he's going to explain it to us here. It's our new 8112 system for Bronco.
Yes.
Basically a race shock, just a bolt-on race shock.
It's, well, this is probably the first time I've seen the production unit. So here's a production unit, Bronco 8112
Are you
rear.
Are you tall enough to hold that up?
I would be outside the camera if I stood up to hold it up, but I can tilt it up this way.
I doubt that, but let's give it a shot.
Let's see if I have some muscles.
Well, Garrett can go back and splice in a close-up while we're talking.
It's pretty damn cool. It's also very heavy.
So basically we went all out. We threw the, kitchen sink at it?
Yeah.
Everything that almost everything that we could throw at it.
The kitchen sink, the refrigerator, and a wallet.
This thing's crazy. So I think I'm seeing an aluminum body. I'm seeing...
No, this is steel body.
Is it steel?
It's aluminum.
This is aluminum
body.
Yeah.
Dude, this thing's badass. This thing
basically, it's a UTV Blackhawk for a Bronco.
So you basically, Bronco owners, you break the frame before you run out of suspension.
Something like that.
So this has all the features of our UTV damper. So this has RCO, JCO.
Yeah, so it has everything except for the rebound adjuster, but it's a three-way adjustable. It's aluminum body. It has a fender reservoir. Look at the spring on that thing.
It actually changes shape. It's narrower here. Yeah, it's beehive shape. So it's a copy of the OE spring or similar.
It's not a copy, but it's they have like a lot of travel in the back of these things, and like the springs, getting the right springs is super challenging.
I bet. I remember when we were working on 6112 for this truck that we went through a lot of nightmares trying to get the right
Well,
spring.
I mean, a lot of guys that were first to market ended up taking them off the market because they realized
the spring didn't work out quite too well for them. So this is threaded body adjustable on this guy?
Well, it's ride height adjustable. It has a threaded rod end.
Threaded rod end.
Not a body.
Right. So we put the threads down at the rod end.
That mimics more of obviously our 8112 line and not our UTV line. So it's threaded at the bottom.
On the rod end.
On the rod end to basically the spring hat.
Right. That's so we can invert the main body of the shock, upside down mount it basically, and gives us a better packaging setup.
Allows you better packaging because we are... these shocks are position sensitive, so the thing that you can't see inside is the zone control. So these shocks, well, let's go over the features of these just to get it out there on the table.
Let's do it.
This is a all aluminum body, obviously, but to me the coolest thing about this shock is it's position sensitive and it has zone control. So it has the internal hydraulic stop that we call JCO.
Right.
Telescoping, and it is adjustable externally with a knob on the top.
This knob right here.
So this basically allows you to increase or decrease bleed in that JCO.
Yes.
Basically,
so you can
tune your bump stop.
Tune your bottom, Like if you're going through really sharp edge stuff, you can ramp up. Or if you're really going through more lighter rollers, you can tone it down.
You could tune the hydraulic bump stop
externally,
right?
With these
2-stage hydraulic bump stop.
2-stage, yes.
Oh.
Okay, so that's JCO.
That's huge,
right? Very, very amazing to be able to
have a bump stop in a bolt-in shock absorber in itself is huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Be able to control
externally
the oil, the volume.
Yeah,
the volume.
The volume. I think it's the valving you were.
Well, think about it.
No, you're not really adjusting valving here.
No, bypass.
Well, we know how effective a hydraulic bump stop is on a race application or whatever.
Right.
A lot of people want to put those on a street vehicle. It's just not practical, really. Right. But just talk
Packaging
about
it.
talk about the cost of that.
Yeah, and now you're adding additional components. You're welding things on your car.
Welding things on your car usually isn't the best thing.
No. Welding onto your frame and then not taking your shock off and causing shock issues because you're welding next to
melting your
shock.
whole wiring harness because you ground it out on the frame.
This is one. This is all in one package.
Yeah.
So it has your limit strap here.
Yes,
which is the
and
RCO.
It has your bump stop here.
Yeah, Shane was going to talk about RCO next.
The RCO, so it has a 2-stage rebound valving where the last stage, probably the last 1.5 to 2 inches of travel, goes into a hydraulic top out.
Which you can actually see in the UTV cutaway there.
So let's look at it.
Yeah.
So we've got this is the RCO right here. And the shaft will come out. See if I can do it. Contacts the this catch piston here, and then the valve, the oil trapped in here has to go through this catch piston, and it substantially increases
firmer
the rebound control.
Yep.
So it protects the shock like a limit strap would.
Only better because it's not welded or bolted on your truck. And
What really is nice about this though, because you are limited with travel with these production vehicles. When you slam down and you bottom out, you hit the JCO and it controls that vehicle from bottoming out hard. Well, now the spring releases with all this energy, and we call this internally the catch piston because you can feel it catching you from bouncing.
Right.
So without this, a lot of times you would, and without the right valving, you'd
slap out,
bottom out, and then you'd end up bouncing once or twice.
Yeah.
Or this will, and you can feel it when it comes out real fast. It like levels you back out and keeps you on the ground.
Nice.
And
super effective.
I think the nicest part about this is that none of those things
affect the main piston.
Affect anything during your standard driving.
Yep.
And it's only when they engage.
Yeah.
Well, position sensitive damping is so that you can have a nice, smooth ride zone, as comfortable as possible, and then you've got these end stops that are kind of a secondary damping.
Right. Which is the biggest cool factor because you can just drive along on the road in a nice, smooth, soft ride zone and not have to worry about RCO or JCO affecting that.
So if you get a coilover shock that is not position sensitive like this, you have a compromise because a lot of these things are designed for, they're designed, you buy a coilover, you want to drive fast. So they're tuned
serious off-road.
They're tuned for driving fast.
Right.
But when you don't have position sensitive damping, which is super important point, it's just going to ride harsh because you need to shove a ton of valving into the one piston
to drive fast.
Yeah. But then when you are hitting nibbly things or high frequency or on the street, it's going to ride rough.
Right.
So this zone control system really bridges that gap nicely.
So with this system, we have the adjustable JCO. RCO is valving specific for the vehicle, so we don't have to change anything there.
No.
And then we have 2 additional knobs on the reservoir. What are these guys going to do for us?
Now that's a dual speed compression adjuster. So there's another valve stack in there. The blue one is a high speed.
Right.
And then the gold one is a low speed or a bleed valve.
Bleed valve, yeah.
Bleed valve.
And you know what's cool is for those people that aren't used to adjusting knobs, we actually laser engraved what the knobs do on the body of on the cap of the reservoir there. So
and look at that beautiful aluminum finned reservoir.
Oh man, that is just crazy. Evo gray aluminum finned reservoir. You can't get any better.
I don't know if that's Evo. That looks a little lighter than Evo.
Yeah.
It's a clear hard anodized.
Yep, that's what it is.
Now, what's really important with aluminum is when you do the clear hard ano or black ano is the surface finish that has to be on the inside as well.
Oh.
So that is coated inside and out, and the surface finish is very, very hard.
Right.
Yeah, that's what builds the integrity of the aluminum itself.
Yeah. So that actually makes things move slipperier inside and more durable, right? So you don't get galling.
It's a lot better wear surface.
Yeah.
A lot of aluminum dampers aren't hard anodized inside.
Yep.
Now, this might be our first 8112 aluminum damper, but we've been making aluminum dampers for 30 years.
Right.
So
I just had to source a spring hat for an old hot rod aluminum coilover.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and those were anodized inside and out, believe it or not. Actually, we had hard coat anodized on the inside of the tube and then clear coat on the outside. So,
But the high speed, the blue valve is for kind of your gross motion, like, you know, that's the one you're gonna, if
big
you're bottoming
movements.
out hard,
right.
that's the one you're gonna try to increase
For compression,
or decrease if it's just too overall stiff. And then the gold valve is kind of a low speed, so that's gonna, you know, it provides a bleed around the circuit there, so you can you essentially soften up some of the nibbly things or some of the high frequency harshness or whatever.
And in the ride height adjustability, what's the range? Are we talking 1 to 2 inches over stock, or what's the range in the ride height adjustability with the threaded rod end?
It's 0 to 1.5, I believe.
So you can actually get these to 0.
Yes.
So that would be the same as the factory ride height on.
Yeah, but there's going to be a recommended ride height, right, to
Right.
keep it in that proper ride zone.
And
I would say
These are probably set at the high side.
Yeah, we were getting. I was getting to that where our BTC. These are built here in Poway, in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
In our BTC, they test every knob click setting. They dyno it, and they also preset the ride height to where engineering believes it's going to ride the best as far as position sensitive dampening is concerned, to get you set up properly in your ride zones right out of the box.
Yeah.
Let's get into a conversation of who this shock is for. What customer is this shock for?
Yeah, who's going to buy this?
Who wants this?
Someone who wants the best ride, but also wants
Creme de la creme?
Yeah.
but also wants to be able to push the vehicle
Right.
to not bottom out.
Correct. So this is a lot of shock for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're looking at a shock to maximize ride height, this isn't for you.
No.
Right? If you're looking for a shock,
Well, position sensitive.
Well,
if
let's
you're
get
gonna
into that
maximize
a little
ride
bit.
height.
So,
yeah.
so these are ride height isn't as tall as some of the others on the market because these are position sensitive,
Right.
And you need to be in the sweet zone so that it rides good.
correct.
Right.
And this is going to lead us into a future conversation about performance suspension over ride height suspension, right? This is going to lead us into that topic eventually down
Well,
the road.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
the cosmetic lift versus a performance lift is, I think,
This
what
is
you're
for a
trying-
guy that doesn't want to run a 37 because he wants to smash into the bump stops and he wants to get full cycle out of the 35.
work the suspension,
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, you could run a 37, but you would really want to put on those aftermarket fenders. With,
Right.
which-
Or
which
limit
are
your up
available.
travel.
Right.
Or limit your up travel.
Right.
Yeah, if you have 37s on a Bronco, they will hit the inner sheet metal on the upper
This
limit.
is
when you
why
bottom
I
out.
say, who is this for?
Right.
This is for a customer that wants to run a tire on the vehicle that's suitable for the vehicle, which is a 35-inch tall tire at an 1.5 lift that wants to romp the vehicle.
Yeah.
That
Right.
wants to use that suspension in every ounce of suspension travel, not limit the up travel. These Broncos, a 37 is not going to get you far further, whether it's on a trail or through a whoop section. It's not going to get you much further than a 37 will.
A 37 will hit the sheet metal
Correct.
on a Bronco
Right.
Yeah.
if you don't limit the travel.
Right.
And if you have sliders, it's going to rub that, depending on the offset of the wheel. It's
Right.
Well, 37 is going to rub everything inside on the frame,
Right.
but it's definitely going to whack your sheet metal if you don't limit the travel.
This is good for a guy that wants to maybe do like a uniball upper arm, to
Stick with
increase
the,
some integrity.
Stick with the 35s.
Maybe do a 7.4 weld rack, right? To increase to get some rigidity out of and some integrity out of that steering, and to run a shock on there that can handle all of that together.
Yeah.
Right? This is for a guy that is buying a Bronco to use a Bronco.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not the guy that's looking for a $1,000 3-inch lift.
No. I mean, and we keep going back to position sensitive. Running this at the max ride height could actually hamper the performance.
No,
Not at our max
not
ride
with
height.
here.
Right.
Yeah.
The max
so
ride
that's why
height-
we have it at 1.5 inches because
Right.
most of these Broncos are coming with 35s from the factory.
Now that's
Right.
1.5 over Sasquatch.
1.5 over the
Right.
tallest Bronco.
Over
Correct.
the Sasquatch. If it was a base model, it would probably be like 3 inches.
2 or
right.
3 inches.
But,
yeah.
but the common goal here wasn't to achieve ride height. It was to achieve
Performance,
suspension
absolutely.
performance.
100%.
Yeah.
Suspension performance.
This
Right.
is for the guy that is in San Diego and he wants to aim his car at Las Vegas and drive off road the whole way.
Right. Right.
And be comfortable.
Right.
That's
Or a
what this is
guy,
for.
or a guy that wants to leave his Bronco
Or a girl.
Badland,
Or a girl.
guy or girl, leave their Bronco Badlands bone stock with a stock 35s and go out there into the desert and teach some lessons.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've
Right.
ridden in some of these trucks, not with this new setup. We basically spend a lot of time on 6112s, which is also a really good product. But, even with 6112, the truck's performance is way beyond.
Because check
what it
this
was.
out. Looking in the fender well, there's a little bit of dead giveaway in the back when you see
Yeah,
this beautiful
something's
little
going
reservoir.
on. Yeah.
Fin
Other
reservoir.
than fin reservoir, other
Yeah.
than that, you really can't tell.
All right, well, let's just clear up what the fins are there for, Shane, because I know someone's going to ask. So what do the fins actually do?
Well, it's more surface area, so it sheds heat better.
Right, so it's going to dissipate heat better.
So does this aluminum body, even if
yep.
it's not finned.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? This
So
is,
of course.
It's not just for looks. It does have an actual
Yeah,
purpose.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It sheds heat a lot.
It
better
triples
than
the
steel.
surface area of that tube.
Probably more than triple.
Yeah.
Might be 10 times more.
Yeah, maybe 50 times more. Just
So
gives-
so Shane, where's this? Where?
Well,
a guy looking for a
girl.
a guy or girl,
Yeah.
girl, guy.
We don't care.
It doesn't matter. We love y'all.
yeah,
Love
exactly.
you all. What premium suspension comes with a premium price tag? Right? I mean,
Yes.
there's just no getting around it, right? These, what is this basically race shock, bolt-on race shock? What is this going to cost a customer?
Well, you know what's funny about that is they're very expensive.
Oh, they look expensive.
Yeah,
These look like a Louis Vuitton.
yeah.
These look, well, better than a Louis Vuitton, but these look like diamonds and pearls. man.
Yeah.
Let's just say that they started working on this during COVID, and we were all working from home, and the engineers just went a little crazy.
Yeah, they definitely went
You
crazy.
don't say.
And,
You don't say. I mean, just the machining
Yeah.
on this spring hat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could see it in up close and personal, the fit and finish on this thing is far superior than anything I've seen.
Well, here's a question.
I was going to say that they are very expensive, but when you plop this down on the counter here, I was like, wow.
yeah, this is. I mean, guys, this is the first time we've seen it too.
Yeah.
the production
Yeah.
model. It's the
Yeah.
first time we've seen it, and well worth the wait, I would say.
Yeah,
Like I mean,
definitely.
I'll tell you what. If you can spend $30,000 on a pair of Nikes, this far outdoes it.
let's put this into perspective
Well,
before
I was gonna just take
before
you
we
there.
do
Yeah.
the price. And
Yeah.
you said, well, who is this for?
No, here's what I want. Here's what I want. Why don't you tell people what you don't have to buy because you bought
Exactly.
this?
That's where I was
Exactly.
going. Yeah.
Boom.
Let's
So-
just
go.
pick the top of the line Bronco.
So,
It starts with
so
R.
if you're a guy or a girl, and you said, who's this for? And you would like to have a coilover, you'd like to have a bypass, and you'd like to have a hydraulic bump stop, and you'd like to have a limit strap on all four corners,
What would that cost you, Shane?
Yeah.
that's going to cost you, let's just try to add that up.
Okay,
here.
so a
It's
60
gonna
mil
cost a lot.
bypass, you're looking at $1,100 a corner for a 60 millimeter 12-inch bypass.
So that's $4,500.
Okay, then you got to run the coilover too.
Coilovers
Let's say $700 a shock with springs $900,
Plus, you got to have a fabricator build all the mounts.
$1,000,
Yeah.
and then it's not
No,
gonna
no. Let's just
let's just do this.
So the bypass was $4,500. The
$4,000 for coilovers and springs,
The coilovers are $4,000. So now we're at
$1,000 in bump stops,
Yeah.
8,500.
another $1,000 to get the bump stops mounted.
So you're-
9,500.
You're getting close to 10 now.
Ten. 10,005.
Now you need lower control arms to fasten the bypass.
Dual
dude.
shock, yeah.
So we're at 10,500. How much is a lower control arm?
If you can find someone that makes it,
Right.
I mean,
Like $2,000 for a
probably
lower.
that. Probably,
And you're
probably
also
more.
leaving out the fact that Junior always brings it up is that so you buy all this gear, right?
So we're at 12,500.
you have a
Right.
fabricator put it on. Now you got to hire someone to come out to the desert with you and tune this whole
right.
package
Yeah.
together.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But the shock tower, so that you can mount the bypass, there's another $700.
So
Yeah.
12,500. Let's just be nice and say 500. So I want to keep it even. We're at $13,000.
And then you got a $3,500 tune day
Yeah.
for someone to come out to the desert with you. Open your shocks up because everything's going to have everything in that package is going to be universal default valve.
Right. Right.
$16,500.
Right.
At best. And that doesn't, we haven't even added the glass fenders because it's going to probably increase the track width a little bit. And it's going to, because you got to package it, right? So you can't put all that behind the factory offset wheel, and you can't put it.
Yeah.
So 16.5, and let's just say, did you even get past the guy who welded on your car without melting your entire electric system?
Exactly.
Right.
You forget that you need a new computer system for your car.
Or the welds
aren't
didn't
so great.
work.
Yeah, the welds just
or
didn't
your
penetrate
bump stop is not hitting where it's supposed to.
Also, just forget about the fact that you just ruined the resale value on that vehicle because no one will want it. But
Let's
you.
just say
So let's just call it 15 grand.
Okay.
That's what it's going to cost you to get a shock that's going to do what this is going to do.
Yep.
Yes.
So
And this is way cleaner.
Yeah.
And this is that absolute
Direct fit
bargain.
bargain. But I was also going to say, so there is a version of the Bronco that's out there that's very well outfitted. It's called the Bronco Raptor, right?
Yes.
So could a customer buy these and be close to the extremely expensive Bronco Raptor minus the engine mods and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you got the 3-liter, so it's not going to ever be as fast as a Bronco Raptor. I mean, you got 400
But suspension-wise, are
something
we
horsepower.
even in the same ballpark?
Well, because of the end-stop controls, JCO, RCO, I think that performance-wise,
I think the motion ratio is where you're gonna lack because the
So do
arms on the
they
Raptor
change the
are
Raptor
longer,
arms
the
and all
pivots
that?
are longer.
Yeah, okay.
it has more travel.
It has more cyclable travel due to pivot. You know what I mean? Due to motion ratio.
So factory installed like race control arms and things like that.
I don't know if there's just a cast arm. Like let's get it right, but the motion ratio changes. So it's a wider track. So when you have a wider track, you cycle naturally
more
wheel travel. However, I'd still put it up against it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to bridge that gap a little better.
Yeah.
Right.
Having the jounce control, if you're pushing it hard, is going to definitely help out.
But in both cases, we're probably, I'm going to guess, with the suspension package that we built and had the fab shop put together and the tuner come out and tune, we were at 16. And I'm going to guess this is probably half that, 3/4 of that.
Less than half.
Yeah, less than half the price, right? And then compared to a Raptor, price-wise, I mean, how much do you add to the Bronco package to get the Raptor?
Oh, now they're giving them away though.
Well, even at the
You can't
giveaway, it's
calculate
at least 35 or 40 grand
So
more.
in both cases, we're near that performance gains and well under
Basically what we're saying, guys, if you want to party like a Raptor
exactly,
and you don't have a Raptor
Buy
and
this.
you want a boogie
yeah.
And you don't want to spend $15,000 on a shock package?
and you want a boogie,
Well, and it's less evasive. I mean, you're not cutting up your car. Your car stays stock.
that's what I'm saying, man. It's incognito. You pull up
Yeah.
to a gas station and people say, "Look at that. That's just a basic Bronco."
That's
But
a
get me,
stock Bronco.
get me in the whoop section.
I mean, this is a couple-hour install. How long does it take to put coilovers and bypasses on something?
Weeks and weeks and weeks.
And then you're of course they're going to want to run a dual rate coil, trying to dial that in for a ride. It's just
Then you got to go to the desert, get it dialed in by
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, pay a shock tuner. Yeah.
And then you got to take them on and off, on and off, on and off.
Yep.
And there's no warranty on that.
Yep.
I mean, this thing has a 2-year warranty.
No, that's
2-year service warranty.
that's more than I thought.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So so where are we at? $8,000?
I believe that they're probably in the neighborhood of like 6,800 to 7.
Wow.
Retail?
I didn't brush up on what the MSRP was.
And
right before I got
that
here.
to me, just looking, I mean, I've looked at shock absorbers for 35 years of my life, and this is not being BILSTEIN biased because you know that I struggle with our aesthetics a little bit, and me and you fight a lot about it, Shane.
Yeah.
But this is an absolutely beautiful shock.
It is. I'm very impressed.
There's
with the way
nothing on
that
the
it looks.
market
Yeah.
that is aesthetically close.
Yeah, it's unique
to this shock.
Very unique. Yeah.
And the beauty of it is the aesthetics is that's just the skin of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
it
what's
can
on the
do-
inside. So
what it can do is
Yeah.
a completely different ballgame.
yeah, it's more than just beauty. It's a big performance upgrade as well.
I only know how to sell this because this is how my wife talks about handbags to me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think the Bronco's a great car. We have one that we drive around.
We used to have two, and we're down to one. But,
yeah, I mean, everything's there. I mean, if you want to take what's there to the absolute max limit, this is it.
yeah.
Without
And this
spending
isn't the only-
$15,000.
Yeah, this isn't the only product we make. So we have 6112.
Yeah,
which is a
so
ride height adjustable 60 millimeter bodied shock, right?
yeah, let's go through the rest of the line. So we are stock on the Sasquatch package.
Right. That's the OEM BILSTEIN.
OE.
Yeah.
But if you want to increase the ride height a little bit, which I think helps out a little bit, I think down from the 8112, it would be our 60 millimeter. And we have two different versions. We have a 6112 and then we have the 6100 ride height adjustable.
Okay.
So the 6100 ride height adjustable, if you've got a Badlands or you have a Sasquatch package, you can reuse the factory coils.
Reuse the OE springs. Yep.
The 6112 has a different coil, a higher quality coil made by Ibach. So you can run that on a Sasquatch or a Badlands if you want.
Right.
But
so one kit comes with springs?
One kit comes with springs,
uses...
but really you'd benefit from that if you don't have a Sasquatch or Badlands because you need, if you want to get up into the 60 millimeter shock, you need a new spring.
Right.
So I would say from a practical standpoint that you'd, on a non-Sasquatch, non-Badlands, 6112 is what you'd want. And then if you've got that, you can reuse the coil and save a couple $100 by reusing the stock coil.
Do we make 5100 for this truck?
We do. We make 5100s, and those would also lift above Sasquatch as well. So if you've got a Sasquatch and you want another inch or inch and a half, possibly 2 inches, depending on what it is, 5100s or 6100s or 6112s will lift it a little bit.
Generate lift, yeah.
Yeah. You're still not going to fit a 37 without rubbing, though.
Right.
But you would.
And like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, but the only way to fit a 37 without rubbing is to get it out of its proper range of geometry.
Right.
I just hear people make comments on Bronco forums where like, I need a lift so I can run 37s, and that's not the case. You need to limit the up travel if you want to run 37s.
Right.
You lose travel, and either you limit the travel with a spacer, or you're going to limit the travel with your tire hitting the top of your fender.
Exactly. That's where it will stop.
Metal.
Yeah.
That's why, like on the 8112, if you want the ultimate setup and you want to run 37s, you could. There's companies that make fenders with inner fender liners that you can get that. You know, you can get a little more up travel in the wheel well for a 37. 37s are still going to hit your frame and all that when you're turning, but
and there's no getting out of that unless you start really making some serious modifications.
But if you want to run 37s with an 8112, that would be the hot setup. Other than that, your 37s are limited.
Make sure, depending on the size of person you are, make sure they do all the trimming with you in the driver's seat, because I'll need a lot more trimming.
Yeah. Or with the gear that you're gonna have on the truck, right? If you're gonna load it down with a bunch of stuff.
But this just isn't going to appeal to a 37-inch buyer. In my opinion. Like
I don't think that's where it was targeted.
This is the guy that actually wants to cycle every ounce of travel the vehicle offers with this shock on there. That wants to just party.
You're right, and he's not going to have to cut up his truck. He's not going to have to spend a lot of money to get there. It's basically bolted on.
Can we run these with stock wheels, stock offset?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
So save your money on the wheel and put it into your shock.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, stock wheels are much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're better fitment, hub centric, all that. We've talked about this before, but nonetheless, I mean, wouldn't you just love to go to a Bronco event with stock wheels and 35s?
Yeah, Bronco events are everywhere these days.
And then just not even just be incognito and just pull up and no one's even looking at you because you don't got the bling bling. And then you
say, let's go for a ride.
Then you just get in the dirt and you just party like a rock star.
Everybody just wants to ride in your truck.
37s are almost pointless these days on these kind of cars. Yeah. You know why? Because all the real guys that are doing trails are on 40s.
Right.
And they did like 37 just not going to help you.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to do if you want to do it
37
the right way.
just screw up your gas mileage.
If you want 37s on it, do it the right way and just put portals on it.
Yeah.
Put 7.4 wheel portals on it. And if you want to party shockwise,
put that on it. Yeah, there you go.
And there's a good way to burn $30,000.
Exactly, nearly the price of the car.
You know what I mean? By the time you get a 7.4 weld rack on there, 7.4 weld portals, 8112s, that's a party pack.
Exactly. That's a down payment on a house.
That's a party pack.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it right. Like Quinn talks about all the time, like, here's the way to run large tires.
Right.
Yes.
And be able to use your suspension.
Yeah, so many people we run into this all the time, both with people commenting on podcast and through our own tech lines where people are cutting corners to mount larger tires, which is basically just a cosmetic thing for most people. They're not going to go out and use these larger tires. They just want to be able to say, I've got the larger tires. If you're going to do it, don't cut corners, right?
Yeah,
do it right. Because
nonetheless, it's the, it takes more damping for the unsprung weight.
Yeah, you're just going to ruin the ride
Here,
of the
I'll give you a little with my work phone here.
Yeah.
Bronco.
Right.
Upper A arm with 35s.
Right.
With 37s.
Yeah.
So what's happening here? That's droop. That's your A arm drooping.
Right.
When you hit an oscillation in the road, when you hit a sharp edge bump, you have to be able to droop. That's what your knuckle connects to your lower arm. Your knuckle connects to your upper arm. So when that wheel is traveling, it needs to do that.
It needs to be able to
when
move
your
down.
arm's like this at right height, you don't get none of that.
Go down, yeah.
Not to mention, like, especially if you're on like a Jeep trail or something, you're not going to have any
How's your tire going to touch
any
the ground?
articulation.
How's your tire going to touch the
at
ground?
all?
Yeah.
You're going to end up lifting tires.
Yep.
I mean, you're real limited on articulation anyways with the IFS.
Right.
But you need all you can get.
Yeah, you need the suspension to move as much as possible to keep.
Well,
it
you need
on
to
the
be
ground.
in that sweet spot where it's going to go down, it's going to go up, or you're just going to lift tires. And as soon as you lift a tire, you're going to be teeter-tottering.
Yep.
Cancel Christmas.
Cancel Christmas. And you're not going to
cancel all holidays at that point.
So it's really, really important to have a droop travel. And I hear that with the Bronco crowd a lot. They're like,
all IFS guys need to understand the flatter your arms, the more usable suspension and wheel travel.
The flatter your arms at right.
Look at all the KOH cars.
Yeah.
All the control arms are flat.
Yep.
They're sitting mid-travel.
Yep. Mid-travel at right height.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because up travel is just as important as droop.
Yep.
And if you're consuming and droop is just as important as up travel. And if you're consuming your droop to get a static ride height, you're losing suspension performance.
Yep.
People need to understand that.
Yeah.
Right? It's performance versus aesthetics.
Yeah, all the time.
If you want aesthetics and your ball joint or your uniball upper arm is pinned at ride height, go to Cars and Coffee. Don't go to real off-road events.
Right.
If your arm is nice and flat, and this is, I'm a 100 series Land Cruiser guy, and that's a torsion bar truck. It's real primitive, and I see it all the time. You see Land Cruisers coming in, they got an aftermarket control arm, and the torsions are just wound up tight as they can be. And I'm
ride's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, it rides absolutely terrible. I mean, all for a tire size.
Well, we kind of got to 4Runner.
all for a tire size that's going to do you no good if you have no droop.
Exactly. The big tire isn't helping you if you've destroyed your suspension travel to get it to fit in the wheel well, right? So, yeah, it's not a good thing.
I'm with you. I think on a Bronco, like a 35 is a perfect setup.
It's the sweet spot. Then guess what, guys? You don't have to re-gear.
Exactly. That's the Ford designed the vehicle to run that.
Because we all know that people
don't
hardly ever re-gear when they put a larger
re-gear,
tire on the car. They just wring its neck.
Yeah.
Remember when we first got our first Bronco?
Goldie.
Yeah.
So we had a vendor run in Moab. Were you there that year? And Steve Von Sagan was he's like, well, I'm leading this vendor run, but I don't even know if a Bronco will even do. We did Metal Masher, right? Metal Masher, which is a 7.
Well, I think the first one we went was we went through the day after we got there. We went through Hell's Revenge.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Then the next day he had the vendor.
But
run.
Metal Masher is more gnarly than Hell's Revenge, right?
So how'd the Bronco do?
So he's like, well, I'm going to lead this run. I don't even know if a Bronco will even do this. Metal Masher is pretty legit.
Right.
And yeah, so we had a 1-inch lift, 6112.
Yep. 35s.
35s.
Factory tires.
Factory tires.
Yeah.
And we did that trail 2 days in a row. No problems, no issues.
Point and shoot.
Yep.
The only one that got hung up was Mark Myers, remember?
Turtle. Yeah, he did the turtle.
The Gladiator got hung up.
No, Mark Myers hung up the Bronco with Randy Pope.
Oh, yeah.
Probst. Yeah.
That was a different year.
That was the year after. That was the year we took the influence.
But anyways, the Bronco out of the box can do a 7-rated trail in Moab. I mean, what else do you want? On 35s.
Yeah.
Stock 35s.
With just a 1-inch lift.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. It's
We were
just
doing laps around that. So what else? Like
how much more extreme do you want to go? Yeah.
Why do you want to overthink it?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't
Not
need
even
to
overthink it, man. Like, people need to understand the leverage they're putting on their actual suspension to achieve something that's going to do no good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why have a 37 if you're losing your droop for that 37 to touch the ground in obstacles?
Right. Right.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't. So just use the 35s, and go out and have fun, and don't have to worry about spending all kinds of money.
Yeah, and I would drink less if you're in the desert with this, for sure.
Exactly.
I mean,
Liquid courage is not a good thing.
I would
with
drink
this.
less because these build confidence like no other.
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
what I call the 81. Our 8112 program. I call that the confidence builder.
Yeah, it gives you
confidence
confidence to do what your car.
Absolutely. Have you driven one with 8112s? Absolutely, you have.
Yeah.
You know how much confidence it gives you.
Oh yeah.
You want to find the back of the motor with your foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So
Push that.
So these build confidence. So
They're
we don't
confidence
want,
inspiring.
They're confidence inspiring. Absolutely. And we don't want to mix that with alcohol.
No, we never want to do that.
So
Period.
drink less.
Yeah.
Party more.
Yeah, that's how we should trail rate it.
Yeah. This thing. Yeah. You can let's put it this way. You can easily outdrive the car.
Yeah, I think that you would be very surprised at how fast you could drive that car through major suspension.
I mean, we were out driving Tacomas when we didn't even have the DSA or the jounce adjuster.
Yeah.
Just standard 8112s. We were out driving that car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We were taking that thing off 3-foot shelves and just out driving the chassis.
yeah.
I don't know
I should
how
say.
many times riding with Wes, I'm like, we're dead. And then you don't even feel it.
Yep, the suspension.
And Wes is like,
8112.
you're closing your eyes,
Yeah.
and Wes is like, he's in a drive-through restaurant. Where's my large fry?
Exactly. I'm looking for my shake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we got guys in place. We got guys in place that make sure these will outdrive your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very well tested and engineered.
And that's why they took 4 years to come out. Sorry, guys, it took
Yeah.
4 years, but
Yeah.
hey, we're putting a product out there
The
that
good
we
thing
know
is that the podcast viewers, listeners, followers, they get to see it out of the box right when we get to see it out of the box.
That's
so
crazy.
this is kind of a big deal. This is like a sneak peek at a product that hasn't. I don't think we've even sold any out yet. This is the first one.
This one is not on the market yet. It
Yeah.
will be on the market in a couple of weeks from now,
Yeah.
which this podcast will be out by
Yeah.
then. But
This, I looked at the catalog, and this has not been added to the catalog or released yet.
it's not released.
Super
teaser.
sneak,
It's a
yeah,
teaser.
sneak peek right here.
Yep.
So
Click,
exactly.
click, boom.
Before we started, I'm like, we needed a prop, and you're like, go next door and get the prototypes. I'm like, we have them on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
Go get one.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did.
You know who we need to. You know who can prove how good these are?
Who?
That likes to party with even 5100s on it? Sean Bowman.
Yeah, but he doesn't own a Bronco, does
Yes,
he?
he does.
He does.
Oh, he has the hardest miles on his Bronco that any Bronco has
thought
ever
he
left
was
the
in
lot.
Those, yeah,
I thought he was an F-150 guy for some
now
reason.
he
No,
beats
no.
the living hell out of it.
And it's
Okay.
his. It's not even a company car. It's his car.
Yeah.
And it's lights out.
Yeah.
It's so beat up.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like he points and shoots, man. Like, he doesn't care what's on there. He's testing it to the max.
Well, he wants all the good people to know what shocks do
what's
what.
good and what's not. So
He's actually exploded a shock on the vehicle driving it.
Yeah, we've actually seen some of those videos. So
So Sean Bowman, call me. We need to.
yeah, exactly.
Well, we're not gonna give you a new set, but we might let you.
Do a shock
We
test.
might let you hog down a trail in the prototypes. But
Exactly.
Well, these are Wes approved.
Exactly.
yeah. But I think Sean Bowman in the desert partying on video.
I'd like to
show.
see that. I'd
Yeah.
like to see that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
He has a little 2-door.
Doing donuts.
Yeah. Just out there, just like
I'd enjoy
like
it.
today's his last life.
Yeah.
Today's his last day.
I'd enjoy just hitting those driveway entrances around
The
LA.
6112s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was fun too.
Yeah.
And he's on 37s.
Yeah.
But he also just rips his fenders off.
Yeah. He's not concerned with minor
Yeah.
body damage and
He's not
contact
concerned with
with
any
the frame.
damage.
The fenders have been self-clearanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
just use the tire to pound the
I
sheet
mean,
metal
likely
in.
if you looked at the frame to the chassis, I'm sure there's dents in the tub of the Bronco from the body mounts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's always good. I mean, that means that you're using your truck, right? So
No, that's not good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
we'll reach out to you, Sean, and then
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you and see if we can get the prototype set on your Bronco so you can go out there and party.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed our sneak peek of the new Bronco 8112 DSA Plus in this beautiful gray, gunmetal
Position
gray.
sensitive zone control.
Yeah.
And if you want to know why we call it Plus, it's DSA
Plus, absolutely. And we thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode. We'll talk to you then.